In my last video, I told you that I was going to start talking about Ethereum and ERC20 tokens. Ethereum is a little bit different than Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dogecoin, all of those other tokens, well, actually including Ethereum. Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dogecoin, and Ethereum are all mined, which is a good thing. When the tokens are mined, it's not like a stock company. So if you have a company and you issue a bunch of stock, all of those stock goes out and a bunch of people buy it and it's available to the public. It's all available right away. So we've all probably imagined, hey, I should start my own business. Why don't I just issue 1,000,000 shares at $1 a piece? A bunch of people will buy them, and I'll have $1,000,000 that I get to start using to start my business. And hopefully it kicks off pretty well, because otherwise I've lost a bunch of money for other people. But hey, it's a little fantasy that we all have. So, having a Bitcoin, a Litecoin, and a Dogecoin, and a Bitcoin Cash, it's a good thing that it's mined. It starts off, it's just like gold. It gets mined. People have to dig for it and fight for it, and when they do, they get it. So the very first person that created Bitcoin didn't create it so that they could have a bunch of it, so that they could have 51% of it, or so that they could end up rich. They created it as a decentralized open platform so that a bunch of people could work on it together, because when one person has it, it turns into another pyramid type of situation where there's a king of the castle, there's a CEO of a company, and everything goes directly down after that. So the whole point of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is that it's decentralized and that there is no king of the castle. So remember that as we start moving into these ERC20 tokens, because things start changing quickly. Ethereum is mined. It started out as being mined, and if you look up Vitalik Buterin, I'm not sure if I'm even saying his name right, but I've read a lot about him and I've heard him talk, and he's about as geeky as it gets, but man is he a smart guy. Look him up and start reading about him. He's the one that started Ethereum, and he does not care about being rich. He doesn't look rich. He looks like he's wearing Nintendo shirts and things like that when he's talking on these shows, and he looks like he's been sitting behind his computer 5 minutes before he stepped on stage. So he's a great guy, he's funny, he's personable, and he's been making a great name for himself. So look up Vitalik. He didn't say, hey, I'm going to start Ethereum, and maybe I should start it with 1,000,000,000 shares so that I start with all of them and I'll issue them out as I please, and I'm going to make sure that I'm rich along the way. He started it out with 0 coins so that people could mine it on their PC, and then when people bought something a little more powerful than a PC, they bought something that they could plug into their wall that was way faster than that, and that's where the competition started building to mine Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Dogecoin, all of the coins, Ethereum, all of those coins. So the difference between Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and Dogecoin, those are all, they have very small differences. They're all mined, they're all cryptocurrencies, and they don't really have that much else going on. They're very supportive because they have a huge network of people, which makes it very powerful, because every single person, well, not every person, but most of the people decide to hold the node and make it much more secure. So Ethereum does the exact same thing, except Ethereum has kind of like a bullet point. The bullet point underneath Ethereum is all of the tokens. All of the tokens are created on the Ethereum network. So Ethereum allows people to basically create their own cryptocurrency, but people aren't creating them as cryptocurrencies. They're creating them as shares of companies. And these shares of companies are not even shares of companies, but imagine it kind of like that. So the top 5 coins are EOS, Tron, Binance, Omisigo, and I think VeChain, something like that. I'll talk about each one of those in a minute, but those top 5 tokens are all on the Ethereum network, which means they're not their own blockchain. Bitcoin and Ethereum both have 2 separate blockchains, and you can use the Ethereum coins to build and on the network. So when you have Ethereum and you want to buy something on the Ether network, or you want to create a token on the Ether network, you use a little bit of Ether to create that. That way you're paying for it and you don't actually have to contact anybody at the Ethereum company to do something for you and work with you and give you any customer service. You do it on your own, and everything is either good or bad, and it's all up to you. And Ethereum holds no authority or liability toward anything that people do. So, I'm going to start talking about some of the tokens. Ethereum is incredibly powerful, and I support Ethereum 100%. I don't think that Ethereum is better than Bitcoin by any means. I don't even think it's better than Litecoin by any means. I just think that it's different. It allows people to do something with it and to play with it. Bitcoin is more of a trading thing. It's more of a currency, and you can buy things with it and trade things with it. People aren't going to be buying houses and cars and products online with Ethereum. That's not what you really do with Ethereum. You kind of play inside the platform of Ethereum by making your own token and doing things with those tokens and playing around. So that's what you do with Ethereum. With Bitcoin, it's more like I have Bitcoin. It's kind of like having cash, and you can use it or you can not. You can save it and hold it forever if you want to. That's what most people are doing right now. They're holding it because they assume that more people are going to come in and there's a finite amount of them. So they feel like the value is going to continue to go up as the network gets bigger because more demand pulling them is going to automatically make it worth more money. So I have some things on my computer right now. I don't want to get the numbers wrong, but the tokens, one of the first tokens is EOS. There are 1 billion tokens, all thrown out into the open market within 1 year. The person who started EOS wanted to raise money, and he wanted to start building a decentralized operating system. An operating system is the Windows platform that you use on your desktop, or the Apple iOS, or even Linux. Some people are using Linux. So those are the different ones. He's trying to make a decentralized platform like that. And I specify, he's trying to make one of those. He has billions of dollars of invested money right now, and he has it all. So there's nothing against me creating my own token right now and saying, hey, you know what? I have 1 million. Just like that fantasy that I already explained. I have 1 million, and who wants them at $1 a piece? He threw that out there with a great idea, and people invested in him. Good for him. There's nothing wrong with that. There is a current $13 billion market cap of EOS, and here's the funny part. The top 11 addresses, if you go to etherscan.io, that is the blockchain for Ethereum, and it shows all of the tokens as well. If you click on EOS and you look at token holders, you're about 3 clicks away. If you just go to etherscan.io, type in EOS and click on token holders, you'll see that I'm going to show you an image of that right after I finish this as well, so don't worry. The top 11 addresses own 51% of the tokens. Wow! In an industry of where a 51% attack is the biggest possible scenario of being hacked. Facebook is a big central company, and they have a force field around it. They're not encrypted, so if you wanted to hack into that force field, you could get inside their castle. You could cause chaos inside their castle on everything. So the whole thing about cryptocurrencies is to take the king of the castle away, take the central authority away, make it decentralized so that you can't have a big hack. And the only thing that can hack into a decentralized system like a cryptocurrency is a 51% attack, where 51% of the nodes decide to all alter what's going on, or one really rich person decides to try to jump in and take over 51%, which is billions of dollars. That's probably not going to happen either, but if they could take over 51% of the nodes, change them all into their own favor, and send Bitcoin to themselves, basically. That's the attack. So the worst thing that you want to see in Bitcoin is that someone owns 51%, because then they own the entire network. They can do anything with it that they want. So if someone creates a token, 1 million, 1 billion, it doesn't matter how many tokens there are. If somebody owns 51%, or if a few people own 51%, that is a huge threat. You do not want to be involved in that at all. So the other thing is, EOS is trying to be a company, and then their EOS token is separate from the company. So a lot of people are buying the EOS token thinking that I'm buying some of this company. And when the company has a really good balance sheet and income statement and cash flow statement, I'm going to get rich with them. Just like when you buy Facebook stock and they do really well and they make a lot of money, their stock goes up. No, this is different. Imagine going to Dave & Buster's or to an arcade. You go to an arcade and there's a business there who has a balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement. They also have tokens that you're allowed to use within the arcade so that you can play around with their different games, play around with their platform if you want to call it. You walk around, you finish, and you're done, and you leave. You don't own part of the company. If you go into Dave & Buster's and you buy 1,000 of their tokens and you go home with them instead of spending them, that doesn't mean that you own part of their company. However, if Dave & Buster's said, you know what, let's create a token, I'm only going to create 1 million tokens. And if people buy 1 million tokens and they take all of the tokens, nobody else is allowed to play any of the arcade games at our facility until they buy one of those tokens from one of the other people who are holding the tokens. Which means it creates a demand for the token because people want to go play the games at Dave & Buster's. So, if they had those tokens and they also have a stock, they're completely different. It's like Facebook right now. There's a little bit of a craze. This is June 2018. If Facebook creates their own Ethereum token or their own cryptocurrency, it's going to be completely separate from their stock. Their stock is their company, their balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement. Their token is going to be something that can be played with on their network. So when they create their token, just know that when you use that token, you're either going to hold it or you're going to use it on the Facebook platform. That's it. I haven't seen anything about what they're actually going to do. I don't know how they're going to do anything with a cryptocurrency. I don't know what their plans are, but I do know that it will not be associated to owning the company. That's EOS, and if Dave & Buster's created a token, I'm hoping you understand a little bit more what these tokens actually are. And they are scary as hell. You do not want to own most of these tokens. You might be able to, jump in and buy some of the tokens and jump out and, oh great, you made a little bit of money. The problem is you're going to jump right back in and you're going to end up going down at some point. And when it goes down, you're going to wait for it to come back up. And if it never goes back up, well, you're out of luck. So let's jump back maybe 15 to 20 years and think about penny stocks. A lot of people tried to get rich off of penny stocks, but the thing about a penny stock was you could have a small company that's maybe worth only like $5 million, and it's not a billion-dollar company like a lot of the big New York Stock Exchange ones, but these smaller companies, if you bought one of them and all of a sudden they had a cure for heart disease, or they had a pill that was going to be an amazing pill, and all of a sudden their stock shot up, you could triple, multiply your money by 10x, 20x, and people were buying these small coins that were 0.0001, hoping that it would go to 0.001, and you'd make 10 times your money. But good luck, if you bought 10 to 15 of them, maybe you'd be able to do that. But the good thing about penny stocks is that those stocks at least were in relation to their balance sheet and their company. You owned that company, even though it was a penny stock and it was very highly risky. It wasn't completely regulated as much as the bigger stocks are by the SEC, and the government didn't, look into it as much. So it was much more risky. But tokens are almost a joke. So I got into Bitcoin back in 2017, and I have to say that when I first got into it, I bought some Bitcoin, and then I decided to diversify into more cryptocurrencies. I bought some of the tokens, I bought some of the other cryptocurrencies, and I kept researching. And that's what you do. If you bought Toyota Motors stock, you would start researching it just because you own it, and you want to see all the good news that you possibly can. And if you see bad news, you kind of shrug it off, but if you see enough bad news, you might get out of the stock. If you see enough good news, you might buy some more. So that's what you do. When you buy Bitcoin, you're going to start reading a little bit more about it. So just buy a fraction of it so that you do start reading about it, because it will get you more excited and you'll learn more about it and you'll see this stuff. So I bought a few of these tokens that everyone kept saying, everyone online, and some of my friends were saying that, Omisigo and EOS, it's the next big thing, and they're going to disrupt this and disrupt that. And okay, great. Well, now that I've read about it, I got out of every one of those positions, and I'm back into only Bitcoin Ethereum, because Ethereum is powering those, but Ethereum, people are going to be using Ethereum and spending their Ethereum tokens on the Ethereum network to build all of these not cryptocurrencies, it's different. A token is different than a cryptocurrency. So people are using the Ethereum network to build tokens. Tron is the next one. It's the second biggest. EOS is a $13 billion market cap. Tron is a $4 billion market cap. The business Tron has a balance sheet. The token TRX is separate from the business. It is a token that once the business decides we're going to launch our platform, which they haven't done. All they have is a website that says we're trying to launch a platform. And once they launch a platform, the TRX token will be able to be used on that platform. Like flyer miles at an airline, you can only use those miles at that airline. So you have your little card and you can go to the airline and swipe your token, but you can't swipe that anywhere else. You're not going to be able to use this Tron token to go to Dave & Buster's and spend money. They're never going to accept Tron. They're not going to accept EOS. Those tokens are used for that platform. But what you can do is go onto other websites and exchange that token for another token or for Ethereum. So if you want to jump in and out and you want to play the chart game, that's all up to you, and that's obviously highly risky. But right now, these things are worth nothing at all. You could even say that it's worth nothing because the balance sheet is worth nothing. Even if you want to say, you want to argue with me and say that they're not, they are shares of the company, like Ripple. Ripple is going to be bigger than Bitcoin. Yeah, right, it's going to be bigger than Bitcoin. No, it's not. Ripple is the company, XRP is the token. The token is what people are buying right now. The only people who can buy into the privately held company of Ripple are big, huge companies because it's not SEC regulated. In fact, every single token that comes onto an exchange, these exchanges are going to get in trouble and are getting in trouble for listing tokens that say that they're going to give you a dividend or say that they're going to give you stock in their company. Because when I first started thinking about making my own token, I thought about doing a real estate investment trust. So I was going to start 1 million coins, and I was going to accept all these coins, and I was going to promise all my coin holders that I was going to give them some of that cash flow and that they were going to be part of my balance sheet and all of that. But it's not like that. In fact, you have to say that you are not that, because if you say that you are that, which is a security, then you have to be regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. The SEC is not regulating these people, so the coins that are being listed on the exchanges are using criteria that say you cannot list on my exchange if you say that you are a security, if you say that you are this, 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 and this. So, it's making me laugh, I'm sorry. The next one is VEN, VeChain. I honestly don't even know what this thing is, and I don't know who they are, I don't know what they are, but I looked them up on etherscan.io, which is the Ethereum blockchain. They have 1 billion tokens. They have a $2 billion market cap. That top 24 addresses own 51%. So if those 24 people decide to get together and collude and completely corrupt the entire thing, they could. They can change the entire blockchain if they want to. 24 people, that's all it's going to take. And if one person who has some money wanted to buy out the last 4 or 5 who only own 1%, they could buy them out, and it would only take 20 people. The next one, Binance, is number 4. They're a $1.7 billion market cap. They have 195 million tokens. Their BNB token is different than Binance, the company. You do not own the company, but you can use their token to trade other cryptocurrencies on their exchange, which is completely just a joke. The top 2 addresses own 62% of the tokens. A decentralized system does not have a king of the castle. It does not have someone at the top of the pyramid. It does not have a central authority. You gotta tell me that if somebody owns 62% of a company, if everything comes down to a vote, they win. If everything wants to come down to a decision, they win. So they are the king of the castle. So they're taking a decentralized system of cryptocurrencies, building a token on that, saying that they're building a decentralized platform, and they own 62%? What a joke! Binance, don't buy it. Use the exchange. You can send Bitcoin to the Binance exchange, and you can have Bitcoin there, and you can exchange it for Litecoin, and you can exchange it for all kinds of different cryptocurrencies and ICOs, and do it at your own risk, but do not buy the BNB token. It is worthless. The only thing that the BNB token can do is be used on the BNB Binance website. And you can already use Bitcoin on the Binance website. So what is the point of that token other than giving this guy 62% of $1.7 billion? He could just sell them all. And the thing is, Binance is the company and BNB is the token. The token he owns 62% of, if he decided to just sell all of them and crush his token completely, that's fine. Because the exchange is still there, and it's still viable, and it's still a privately held company that can continue on, and the Binance coin on their list of exchange, doesn't matter. Get rid of that coin. People can still send Bitcoin, they can send Ethereum, they can send Litecoin, and then they can exchange it into Bitcoin Cash, and they can exchange it into Bitcoin Gold and Diamond and whatever you want to do. So he could just destroy it if he wanted to, and still have the exact same company with the same balance sheet and the same income statement and have no problems going on. The very next one, the fifth top coin, if you go to etherscan.io and you just click on market cap, it'll bring up the top 5 coins, which are the ones that I've just mentioned so far: EOS, Tron, Ven, which is VeChain, Binance, OMG. OMG is 5th, so OMG is called Emisigo, and apparently Vitalik Buterin is involved in this business. I don't know if he owns any of these tokens or not, but again, this token, I'm not saying anything bad about any of these businesses. All of these businesses are trying to do something, and I understand that, but why do they need a token to use on their platform when you can just use Dogecoin on their platform? You can just use Ethereum on the platform. You can build something decentralized, but they're building a decentralized application, which is a DApp, that's the new word, right? Decentralized application. They're building a decentralized application like Binance and then centralizing a token so that they can make a ton of money on it. And I don't get it. I don't understand why they're using a Binance token. You don't even need to transfer your money into Binance token to trade anything on their website. You can do it without the token, so it makes no sense to me. OMG Emisigo has 140 million tokens available. They have a $1.5 billion market cap, and the top 9 addresses own 51% of the tokens. Somebody please comment below and tell me what the heck is going on here. So I decided, I have a programming background, I have a master's in IT with a focus of web design and database administration, so I understand the blockchain. I've read all of these books here on the blockchain. I have all of these books, Mastering Bitcoin. I watch videos all the time with Andreas Antonopoulos. I've watched videos with Vitalik Buterin, and I've seen everything that's going on. I understand decentralized versus centralized, and I decided to go on and figure out how to make my own token, and I did. So you can go onto etherscan.io and go to the top in the search bar and type in BELL. That's my name, Chris Bell. If you type in Bell, there is a Bell token. There's Chris Bell token. I made 1 million tokens. They're worth nothing. I can't even get them onto an exchange because this is where I figured all of this stuff out. I went and tried to put it onto an exchange thinking, you know, I'm not trying to steal people's money or anything like that, but I would try to raise some capital and I was going to use it for real estate. That's what I was going to do. So I decided to look into how to get onto these exchanges, and I started looking at these websites, and they said, you cannot say that you're a security. You cannot say that you're a business. You cannot say that you're going to provide investment for anyone. You cannot say that you're going to give dividends to anyone. I mean, the quotes are laughable. You can go in there right now. You'll see my million coins, and I own 99% of them. I sent a couple to a second and third address that I have. So there's 3 people that own the tokens. I have about 990,000. I sent 5,000 to 2 other addresses just to check and see. I wanted to play with it a little bit, so I did. I sent some tokens to myself, and it worked out great. But it made me realize how much of a joke it is. That anybody can just go on, create a coin, call it whatever they want, and just sell them. And you know what? If you say that you're not a business, you're not a security, you're not a dividend, you're not an investment, then you know what? The SEC can't regulate you. Nobody can do anything about it. So I can sell all these tokens right now. Oh, wait. My name is Chris Bell. I have a Bell token. I'm creating a decentralized real estate investment trust. Everybody buy my token, please. Come to my website and buy my token for $1 a piece, and I'll make $1 million, and maybe I'll only sell 49% of them, so I'll make $490,000 because I don't want to, you know, I want to keep 51% because I want to keep it centralized. I don't want to make a decentralized real estate investment trust and not have a centralized token. What's going on? Nobody understands these things. Warren Buffett called it rat poison. He called all of cryptocurrencies rat poison, and I'm assuming it's because of this, because he looked into some of the businesses trying to relate some of these billion-dollar, like Binance is $1.7 billion market cap, and the first thing Warren Buffett does is look at the balance sheet, and if they have less than $1.7 billion on their balance sheet in equity, then he thinks they're not worth that much. So even if they have income, so if you have $1 billion in equity, so you liquidate your company and you have $1 billion on your balance sheet, and you're making $100 million per year, then you would make $100 million for 7 years. That's $700 million. You add that to the balance sheet of $1 billion already, and you have $1.7 billion. So he knows he would make his money back in 7 years. That's the Warren Buffett style. And he thinks 7 years is way too long. He would buy a company that's much lower, or he would wait for that price to drop a little bit if he really liked that company until it got down a little bit more. Maybe if it was worth $1.1 billion and they're making $100 million, it would only take 1 year to get his money back because it would be added to the balance sheet. And his billion would go up to 1.1 billion, and he would be able to get all his money back. So that's when he would think about buying one of those companies. But when he looked at this and he realized that the token is not even related to the balance sheet, never mind the non-existent balance sheet because they haven't done any business, because they don't even have a business that's in operation yet. They're just all in the development stage, saying that they think that they're going to disrupt the industry with a potential idea. That's why Warren Buffett called it rat poison, and I'll tell you, I think I agree with him because this is just nuts. So let me know what you guys think.